All right, so I'm with Rianna Paez, and we are going to be talking about her creator experience. And so, Rianna, first of all, just tell me, when did you start getting into the fandom that you're in, and what kind of fandoms do you like?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Definitely it started with Disney when I was a little girl, and it kind of stayed with me throughout my teenage years into my early 20s. And Marvel specifically when Thor came out. That's when I fell in love with Marvel, and that was the first movie that I ever saw, and it was amazing. And ever since then, I just little by little would start collecting items and just continue to watch the movies. And I have other fandoms as well. Like I'm a huge Friends fan. Like I love Friends. It's like my comfort show, everything. But yeah, just kind of throughout my whole life, and it all started with Disney when I was a little girl.
Oh, that's awesome. I think a lot of us
Yeah.
start off with Disney.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. So, were you collecting before getting into Marvel, or did the collecting really start after
uh
you got into Marvel?
no, I did start collecting Disney items, specifically like stuffed animals. I had so many, especially Eeyore. That was my comfort character when I was a little girl. So I think it's just something that I've always had in me to be a collector, but it really took a deeper dive when it came to Marvel. And I just kind of went crazy with Marvel merch. I mean, they have so many good things.
Yeah, so you've got a massive Funko Pop collection. You've got
Yes.
Loungefly. You've
Yes.
also been going to places like Box Lunch, and of course Avengers Campus in California to get a lot of your things. Where do you seem to find the best deals? Like what do you recommend for people?
So I definitely did my research through other creators that are collectors as well. And I love to buy directly from the Funko site for my Funkos.
Mhm.
And obviously they have shared exclusives that they share with Box Lunch, Hot Topic. So I try to hop on those when they're first released because they tend to sell out fast if it's a really popular item. And those scalpers are no joke, man. So I try to get on it as quick as I can. Marvel merch at the parks, it's fairly new, especially since Avengers Campus has only been there for a little over a year. So with that, I follow a lot of creators online that go to the parks almost daily, and they're always posting new items that are released. So luckily I work close to Disneyland, so I'm able to hop on over after work to pick up whatever released that day. And it's really nice, but I just recommend people follow creators and get tips and advice. So that's something that I recently started doing is especially with Nerd Initiative, I wrote an article talking about collectibles and merch and the best way to get it when it first releases because you don't have to deal with scalpers. And there have been items that I've had to buy on like the resale market just because I missed the drop or it was limited edition, and once it sells out, it sells out. So I just recommend people following creators, and there's so many amazing creators out there that give lots of great tips and advice, and that are those creators that will share everything as they drop or things that are up and coming. So yeah.
Now, you started a while back with doing TikTok videos, and of course, you've been on Instagram, and then you've joined Nerd Initiative, and you've done
Yay.
some fantastic articles. In fact, some of our best articles have been your Avengers Campus experience, and then also about collecting. What was your purpose about getting online and doing social media? What kind of drove you to do that?
So I think it was more of a creative outlet for me. I'm a very shy person, and as I dove deeper into Marvel, and I want to say I kind of like felt even more heads and heel with love in love with Marvel when WandaVision came out. I don't know what it was about that show, and Wanda's character that I could just relate to so much in the sense that I love my kids so much, and she has such a love for her kids, and she was willing to do anything and everything for them. So I can
Yeah.
relate to that. But yeah, so I just felt like I had no one personally in my life to talk to about that kind of stuff, like talk to about like the show or just my love for collecting. It was just kind of me. So when I got on TikTok, I saw that there were other creators that, love Marvel just as much as I do, who are collectors just like me. And so it was so nice to relate to them. And I'm like, you know what? I want to start showcasing the little things that I have. And as my collection grows, and every now and then I do share my thoughts on, what I think of a show or a movie. And it's so nice to hear other people's opinions and what their thoughts are as well. So, I've only been on TikTok for almost a year now. So that's pretty cool. And Instagram, I just started the end of last year. So that's been really cool. And I've met so many amazing people like yourself. And, becoming a part of the Nerd Initiative was just truly amazing. I never knew that I could be a writer. And that's something I found through joining the Nerd Initiative. So that was really awesome.
And we're glad to have you. Now, I will say this with your videos, you're extremely polished in how you present either your collectibles or your room, or when you go to Avengers Campus, you obviously have a drive to share, what excites you and what makes you happy. What do you hope? There's this video that goes around TikTok right now. It's like, why are you a creator on TikTok? Why do you do this? Like, what is your end game? What's your purpose? What do you want to do?
I eventually would like to work for one of the three companies that I support heavily, which is Marvel, Loungefly, or Funko. I I work in the medical field, and I have worked in the medical field for over about 12 years now. And, I just feel like it's time for a change in my life. So I'm hoping that this will lead to a great career opportunity in the future, whenever it's meant to be. But yeah, I think more it's just for fun, and just it gives me such, like I said, a creative outlet, and it's kind of my escape. So
Absolutely.
and just to meet more amazing people.
Sure. And there's a lot of small creators, or there's the people that just kind of lurk on TikTok. They watch videos, but they don't ever make content. They're always unsure if they should do it or take that step, or would people appreciate them? Do you have any advice for them?
Just to get on and make that first video. My first video was just poorly edited, and I had no idea what I was doing, but I just got better from there. And I just continued to research, and I would observe other creators. And personally, what I like to see, as you said, my videos can be polished sometimes. And personally, personally, that's kind of what I like. So I started looking into that more. And it's so hard, though. That first video to post is so hard. It's so hard to put yourself out there. You're so worried about, criticism, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I sound weird on camera. I look weird on camera. And that was my fear in the beginning. But I just kept posting. And for a few days, I wouldn't look at any comments or anything, because I was terrified. No one likes negativity. And I'm one where if someone's negative to me, like I shut down. And that's something I knew I had to break out of if I was going to continue to post on social media,
Yeah.
So my advice is, just make that first video, put it out there, and just keep going from there. And don't look back. Like, don't look back and, criticize yourself, like the way your voice sounds, the way you look, other people are going to do that for you. Don't do that to yourself,
Absolutely.
So
now your username on TikTok and on Instagram, Marvel Twin, there's a story behind that. I know the story, but for people that are watching, what's a little bit of the story about your username?
So it's Marvel because I love Marvel, and Twin, I have a twin sister. We are fraternal twins, and we both share the same love for Marvel. Initially, we started off with Instagram, and we were both supposed to do the Instagram together. So it was like Marvel Twins. But she decided that it wasn't for her, that life wasn't for her. And I'm like, that's cool. So I'll take over the name. And I just kind of kept it because that is a part of who I am. I am a twin, and I love that. And it's really cool. So, and I'm really close to her. So, I just kind of kept that name, but yeah.
Absolutely. So we talked about Marvel, you talked about Disney, you're a big Friends fan. What other fandoms are you into?
I want to say that's pretty much it. I'm trying to get into Star Wars, but I'm terrified.
Okay.
I'm so afraid. I think I'll just watch the movies and just
Are you terrified of making content on Star Wars? Or are
I
you
think that's what it is.
okay?
And I know I'm such, I keep saying just make that video, post it. I just, yeah, I'm afraid because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I feel like Star Wars is more intense than Marvel, and I feel that fandom is so more intense. But it also, I follow a bunch of Star Wars creators, and their love for Star Wars, it's so beautiful, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So I think that's kind of what's making me want to get into Star Wars, but I'm gonna pace myself slowly, so I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, I would agree to that. I think that's one of the things a lot of creators say. I've even some big creators, that there is a toxic element to some of the Star Wars fandom. And I always look at it like it's kind of like TikTok. There's different sides of TikTok, and when you start seeing something, there's always the wrong side of TikTok.
Yeah.
And let's face it, we're seeing recently Marvel can be just as toxic in some cases. But I would just tell you, go for it. I would love to see what you would do with it. I like Star Wars. I don't make content mainly because I know I'm not as versed in it as a lot of creators are. So for me, I just would relieve it to the people who are a little bit more, educated on Star Wars to have that discussion, whereas I can talk Marvel.
Yeah.
But with collecting and the things that you could collect, like that's a dangerous road. Do you ever
Oh
find
yeah.
do you ever find that the amount of collecting that you do can become like a pothole or like a
Oh my gosh, yes. It's so bad. Sometimes I get like, and I've gotten better. Okay. So I went heavily on Funkos. I want to say last year, towards the end of last year. And originally I said, I'm only going to collect the fandoms that I love. I mean, I just, kind of put myself in a hole there by saying that. But like, for example, my first Funko ever was Chandler from Friends. I went to Warner Brothers studio in Burbank and did their studio tour. And at the gift shop, they had a Funko Pop. That was the first time I ever had seen a Funko Pop. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So I bought Chandler. They had the whole line, but I didn't know about Funkos back then. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy him. And then as time went on, I'm like, I really want to collect the set. So then I collected all of them in that wave. And then I found out Backstreet Boys had Funkos. I'm a huge Backstreet Boys fan. And I'm like, this would be perfect. So my sister, as a birthday gift, bought all of them for me. And then I started watching New Girl on Netflix, and I fell in love with New Girl. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it helped me through a dark time that I was going through. And I'm like, this is amazing. And I found out New Girl had Funkos. And I'm like, okay, I have to have them. And then I just went downhill from there, especially when I saw all the Marvel Funkos. And I'm like, this is horrible. And then no joke, at that point, I was getting like 5 to maybe 8 packages a week. And it was so bad, but I've gotten better. So now, like, for example, for Thor, Love and Thunder, I'm not collecting all of them. I'm like, okay, I'm allowed one Thor, one Mighty Thor, and one, there's only one Valkyrie, but I'm limiting myself now. And I'm doing the same with Loungeflies because my Loungefly collection is getting out of hand. So
you've got to be running out of space at some point.
Yeah, I have no more space right now. So
I do see white behind you. So like there is.
That's where my door opens though. So
the doors can become walls. You can.
So it's hard because when you start collecting, you fall, you're in love with your fandom, and you want to have everything that represents your love for it, right? And so it becomes dangerous. And then I learned about hot toys through you. So thank you, because I have 3 on pre-order right now.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be selling some because I'm getting I have to be more smart about what I have, and it's killing me that I have to think about that. But
well, let me know which ones you're selling, especially that Hawkeye one.
Oh, that was sold.
That was sold.
That was sold.
Gosh.
I have the Civil War Ant-Man that I'm selling, and then I have the Winter Soldier Black Widow. So, because like if I get a Black Widow, I think I might want to get the Black Widow from the movie Black Widow.
Yeah.
That's really weird to say that way. or get the one from Endgame, because I do like the Nat from Endgame.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's, and I love your Ronin. I
Oh,
like,
he's
like
amazing.
yes. The only cool thing about the Hawkeye from Age of Ultron that I had was it was literally he had like a quiver that was just full of arrows, and you had like a little container that had tons of arrowheads of all the different type of trick shot arrows that he had, like the taser one, the claw arrow, so you could put anything on there that you wanted.
That's so cool.
But it would have been cool to get the one for Civil War, because that one's the one that had the Ant-Man on the arrowhead.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
See, I didn't know about Hot Toys back then, so
oh,
it's probably a good thing that I didn't.
oh, it's dangerous. It's so dangerous. But yeah. So you've been doing Nerd Initiative. You've done a couple articles. You've done some fantastic articles.
Thank you.
And a lot of creators feel like they don't want to, just be stuck into one thing. Is there any other type of, you know, discussion or op-eds or anything that you want to do other than just like collecting? Like where do you see yourself in some of the stuff that you're gonna be writing in the future?
You know, collecting lounge flies. I always told myself, I would love to open up my own small shop as a authorized retailer for Loungefly, for Funko, for all the things that I collect. I'm like, that would be so cool to do that and kind of be like your one-stop shop, like for Disney bounding, which, Disney bounding's when you go to Disney dressed as a character or representing a character that you love.
Mhm.
And so I do a lot of Marvel bounds, right? So I go dress in different Marvel outfits. And I'm like, it would be so cool to have one central location where it could be your one-stop shop to get all of that, so you're all
Mhm.
set for your trip. So I'm like, that's kind of one of my dreams in the future. So hopefully to own a small shop, that would be cool. I would love to be my own boss. I mean, I think that's the ultimate goal.
I think we all do. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of where we all want to go with this.
Yeah.
Kind of like that's kind of how Nerd Initiative kind of even started. It's like
Yeah.
because I'll be with you. I'm in the medical field, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
I'm ready for a change.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
I think the pandemic really changed a lot of people's mentality about
Oh, for
what
sure.
they wanted to do. Um, so you have a child, and
Yes.
is your child as excited in your collecting as you are?
She is. She actually has her own collection of Funkos as well, and she does have, I wanna say, a few Loungefly bags herself.
So you're rubbing
She's
off on her like mother,
yes.
like, yep,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
It's so bad though because she will tell me like, "Mommy, you got a package and it's in your room, but daddy doesn't know." And I'm like, "No, no, no, it's okay. Like he can know, like, but she is so funny. Like she'll call me and be like, "Mommy, you got another package." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what am I creating here? Creating a monster."
So is there any like any of the hiding of the boxes when they come in?
No, no, my thankfully my husband is supportive. He you know what? He has a few Funkos himself and he doesn't like to admit it, but he has a few of his own.
He probably appreciates the collection that you have.
Yeah,
So
he loves the joy that it brings me. Not that it's material things that bring me joy, but he loves the passion uh that he sees in me when I'm talking about a movie or a show, or I show him, "Hey, this is my new lounge fly from this show," and he thinks it's so cool. He himself, he's very simple. He doesn't, rarely spend money on himself, so he's a very simple person, but he's very supportive of me, and he loves like, seeing me in my Marvel bounds and join me at the parks. Like, so that's pretty cool.
so is he the camera person when you're getting some of those shots for your campus trips?
Yeah, that's him. He
That's
does a
awesome.
really good job, and my daughter too. She has taken a few of those herself.
That's great.
Yeah.
So with doing Nerd Initiative and everything, and it kind of circles back to when you're talking about like being afraid of getting into the Star Wars fandom. One of our purposes is really trying to make sure that there's a safe place for people to get into the fandom, and being willing to create without fear. That's kind of our motto
Yeah.
now. What does that mean for you? What is your what do you hope that you send across in the message of the things that you do?
I for me, that is such a powerful statement, create without fear. And when I saw that you guys released that on a shirt, I was like, wow, like I need, first of all, I need that shirt. Because that sends such a powerful message, especially, I can attest to, like I said, I'm very shy. I'm very like, I'm very socially awkward. This interview right now is so hard for me because I tend to veer off in different paths.
You're doing great.
I feel I feel like, well, like now that I'm thinking, I'm like, well, I said I wanted to work for Marvel, but now I'm saying I want to be my own business owner, but why can't I do both? So
You
like
can absolutely do
I
both.
process the way that I process things in my mind, like I go back and I'm like, why did I say that? But I want people to know that it is okay to be you and to express what you love and to talk about it and not be afraid,
Absolutely.
As I said, like getting on any form of social media, it's so hard and there's so many negative people, but just as much as negative people there is, we have so many positive people and so many people uplifting you and encouraging you. And I want people to know that you will find those people in your community. You will find them, and you will definitely find them within the Nerd Initiative. Like I feel like this would be a great place for people to start, and so they can hear other people's stories. I think it's so amazing that you guys are doing these creator interviews because, me hearing how other people started, it's so amazing and it's so encouraging, and it makes me realize that I'm not alone in the way that I felt when I first started. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's the goal. But as much as, Michael and I have tried to kind of make this platform, it is worlds different than what we intended because of the amazing creators like you.
Yeah.
You guys have made this be something better than we ever could have imagined. And as much as, Michael and I thought about this back in like, early March, and finally we're able to run with it in May. It's amazing to consider where it went. And it was great because immediately it feels like a big family. It feels like each of us like have, it's funny because if we're on TikTok, and if I don't get tagged by you or Donovan because of a giveaway or something that's going on, or we see something that we hadn't seen before, and just being able to have that communication, and then just like in our group conversations, like on Discord and everything, it's always been so positive, and I love that, and I appreciate that from all of you guys. But back to you. What do you think of, like there's all of the collecting, there's all of the Disney, properties that you've enjoyed, Marvel, Backstreet Boys, Friends, what in your experience in being a fan, going through all of these properties, what is like really like touched or affected your life that, you look back on, and yes, these are entertainment, it's entertainment media, but sometimes for a lot of people it resonates and it speaks to them. Do you have an experience where something has spoken to you in the things that you're interested in?
I would say within all of them, within like Friends, Marvel, just and New Girl, like just being able to relate to a certain character or a story. I think that's the most awesome part of any fandom, is that you will find someone and a storyline that you can relate to. And seeing, even though, like as we said, even though it is media, it is there for our entertainment, I think it goes deeper than that, because you see someone facing something that you're facing, or something similar that you're facing, and you can see their outcome, and most often than not, it's always going to be like a positive outcome, more often than not. Even if it's not a good outcome, you see how one deals and processes, through situations. And I think that's super cool to actually physically see. I feel within my life, the things that I've gone through, even I dealt with depression at a very young age, and it's still something that I battle. And I've really never had anyone in my life that has battled that or gone through it. So through these shows and through these characters, you know, I've seen how people have been able to deal with it. Again, I understand it's just a show, but it's, for me, sometimes it's more than that. And it's a way to cope sometimes with things that I'm going through. So it's always been more than just a show to me. And that may be weird to some people, and that's totally fine. But for me, it's these shows, even with music is such a huge part of my life. Sometimes it gets me out of dark places, and I'm so grateful for that. So um when WandaVision, I think honestly the start of my obsession with collecting started with WandaVision because I don't know what it was, but I felt such a genuine connection to that show. And it's like my comfort show. I can't even tell you how many times I've rewatched that show. It's crazy, but it just makes me so happy when when I have a hard day at work. I come home and I pop in that first, like I turn on that first episode, and it instantly puts me in a good mood. Don't get me wrong, like we all have our families we come home to. I have my husband, I have my daughter, and it's so amazing. But sometimes it's hard, and that's just another outlet that I have, that I can share with them or share and just enjoy it myself. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm so bad at like putting things together.
You're doing great. Now it makes sense because I was actually sitting here. It was kind of like it dawned on me that, I feel the same way. There's a lot of times where I'll just put on WandaVision for whatever reason. And I realize it's because it's an escape as much as if it was her escaping.
Exactly.
She's escaping the reality of what's going on in the world around her.
Yeah.
As much as, sometimes you sit down and watch a show or a movie, you're just trying to, take a pause from reality, get away from the struggles and the stress, and just kind of run away and do these things with these characters. So that makes a lot of sense.
Totally.
Any final thoughts, anything that you would like to get across to people about yourself? Any encouragement you have, anything you'd like to share?
Yes. One thing I want to share is that I'm a huge coffee addict. That is like my thing. And my thing is always coffee, iced coffee specifically, and Avengers Campus. That is my happy place. But
that sounds good.
Oh, it's so amazing. But I just want to tell people that, just let people know, like, and I can't, stress this enough, just be yourself. Like that's something. I'm 31 and I learned about being yourself at like 30. So it's never too late for people. And just do what you love, and just who cares about the haters and the negativity, because it's, it's always going to be there, and that's something that I always have to remind myself and tell myself when I feel discouraged, especially when I feel discouraged. And don't worry about numbers. If you're trying to get on social media, don't worry about numbers, because things come in waves. There was a period a few months ago, for 2 months, I was not moving. My numbers were not moving. I was like losing followers. And then a few weeks ago, I posted a video and then I got like 600 followers overnight, which is not common for me at all.
Right.
And then I was like so excited. I was like so happy for the longest time. And then now I'm like nothing, like no, nothing's happening. And that's okay, because I'm so happy with the content that I'm putting out, and it brings me so much joy. I'm such a dork. Sometimes I'll sit there and I'll just be rewatching my TikToks, and I will just laugh at myself because I crack myself up. And, and I think that's the best form of therapy. And like,
I'm glad I'm the only person.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, this is going to come out so weird to know that I just sit there and watch my own videos.
And you're not the only person that said this. I've literally watched a video today where someone was like, oh no, you know what it was? It was Sean. It was Captain Life.
Yeah.
He says, he was answering that question. Why do you make TikToks, or why do you do it? And he's like, I like doing stupid videos, and I just sit there and watch my own videos and laugh. And it's like, yeah, I completely agree. There are times where you'll make something. And I think the most important thing for people to realize is, if you're making content on TikTok and you're not getting traction, it most likely has nothing to do with the quality of your content. Sometimes it can, but most likely it's because of the system or the algorithm, because it never, I mean, it's weird because if I got sick right at the moment when I think everybody was starting to get boosted numbers. So I wasn't able to make enough videos. And so I didn't have as much growth as I wanted, but I still saw like hundreds of people, follow. in like a very short period of time. But for me, I have anxiety. So
Yeah.
the moment that I start seeing like 99 plus like notifications, I freak out and I just have to clear them out as quickly as possible. So like the last couple of days where it's been like maybe 5 to 10 every time I look, it's much more calming, which is really weird. So all right, well, this has been fantastic. Again, thank you for doing this. You know, and again, check out, you know, Rianna's articles, especially about Avengers Campus and about her journey in collecting. She provides great tips, and also check her out on Marvel Twin, on TikTok and Instagram, because if you want to know about collecting some really amazing items, she's the one to follow.
Thank you so much for having me.